Hello viewers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we'll be looking at basic Cisco switch configuration. So the reason why you should know these basic configurations is this. Okay, so when a client calls you for an installation or maybe for a troubleshooting, these basic configurations are things you should consider or you should be expecting. So if it is an already installed switch, be expecting these are basic configurations on that switch. Okay, it might not be all, but then you should be expecting 2 or more of this basic configuration on that switch. And also, if you are to configure a new switch, you should also be expecting or be putting into consideration of doing these basic configurations on that switch. Okay, so I'll be using a step-by-step procedure to run a basic configuration needed to set up a Cisco switch for a functional local area network. So before we proceed, just as usual, if you have been following me and watching my videos and you like the kind of content I used to drop on this channel, please hit on the subscription button and also turn on the notification bell so that you will always be notified whenever I drop a new video. And also, if you have watched any of my video and you learned something from that video, please give it a like. So the first step is to have access to the switch. Now once you have access to the switch, connect to the console port of the switch. Now get your laptop and also get a console cable or a rollover cable. Now use the console cable or the rollover cable to connect your PC to the switch console port. I've done a video on a particular software called PuTTY on how to use it to connect to the command line interface of any Cisco device. The link to that video is in the description below. So I'll still demonstrate that in this video, but I'm not going to go in depth like I did in that video. And also in that video, you will see the site where you can download that particular software. So first of all, once you access the switch, this is what you should do. So let me remove this topology. Let's have a simple connection. So this is your switch. And this is your laptop. Okay, so you're going to have a switch and a laptop. So from the physical parts, you'll be seeing your switch this way mounted inside a rack, and also you'll be having your laptop down here with you. Okay, so what you need to do is to connect your laptop to the switch using a console cable. So if you come down to this cable part, you're going to see this particular cable is called the console cable. Okay, the console cable. So click on it, connect it to the console port of your switch. Okay, this is the console port of the switch. So you see it's written console. All right, so connect it to the console port and come down to your laptop and connect it to the RS232 port of your laptop. Okay, so you're going to have your connection this way. Okay, so come back to this part. You see that we have this connection here. Okay, so once you are done, run that particular software called PuTTY. Okay, so let me just run PuTTY here. So this is PuTTY. So once you open your PuTTY on your system, you are going to have this interface. So like I said, if it is not a remote connection, don't use the SSH. Okay, so use serial and get the COM port number of your system at that particular moment. Okay, so how do you do that? Now come to settings, device manager. Okay, then go to ports. You're going to see that particular port if you connect to it. Okay, so let me assume it is COM port 3, right? So come down here and input COM 3. Okay, leave other settings the way they are and just click on open. Right, so it's going to open an interface, a command line interface this way, where you can be able to type in your your codes. Okay, so please watch out that video and see more explanation I did on that particular video. All right, so once you are done, once that interface is open, it's going to look this way. So I'm going to do that on this computer. So I'm going to click on the computer, then I'll come to desktop, then terminal. I'm going to leave the settings the way it is, and I'm going to click on OK. So from here, I now have access to the interface of that switch. Okay, but it's like this console cable did not affect this connection. Okay, so I'm going to reconnect it using that console cable. So this is the console cable, right? So let me remove this. So let's connect it back. Okay, so from the RS232 to the console port of your switch. Okay, this is the cable I want to see. Okay, so this is the rollover cable. So if I come back to the laptop terminal, okay, all right, I should see this interface. Okay, so I should see this interface. So press enter to get started. Now this is the first mode you are going to see whenever you connect to your switch. Now this mode is called the user exec mode. The switch will always boot into the user exec mode. So from this mode, we cannot do any configuration at all. So we need to enter the privilege exec mode. Now for us to enter the privilege exec mode, we're going to use the command enable. So enable, enter. Okay, so this mode is the privilege exec mode, and on this mode we can do less configurations. I've also done a video on how to understand these modes in Cisco devices, so the link also will be in the description below. So from the privilege exec mode, we're going to enter the global configuration mode where we can do more of our configurations. Okay, to do that, we're going to enter configure terminal. Okay, enter. So now this is the global configuration mode. So the first configuration we'll be doing on this switch is the host name. So we're going to change the switch name to our preferred name. Okay, so let me assume you have more than one switch in that particular company. You can give them different names to differentiate them in the network. Okay, so let's say host name, let's say make it is, okay, make it is switch 1 S1. Okay, so enter. So the name of your switch has changed automatically. All right, so the next command will be a banner message. Now this banner message is a kind of message that prompts up whenever you log into your Cisco switch. Okay, so it's going to be a kind of message that will prompt up telling you that do you have administrative access, you need to enter a password, you know, just a kind of random message to give the administrator or whoever that is logging into the switch that he need to perform a certain task, or maybe he should stay away from the switch if he does not have a certain permission, you know, those kind of messages, right? So it always pops up before the user exec mode. Okay, so the command is very simple. Banner MOTD. So the MOTD here stands for message of the day. Okay, so that's the first message you see before you can log into the system. Okay, so message of the day. Then you can use any sign to start up your message. So it can be like, please, you need to enter a password to verify you are authorized. or to verify you have admin authorization. Okay, so just something like that. Okay, so the first symbol you use to start your message, you're going to use it to end the message and click on enter. So the next thing we have to configure is to set up a password for accessing the console. So someone cannot just plug in the cable to the console port of your switch and start doing configuration. So like I said, once this message pop up, there should be a password to allow you log in, making sure that you have administrative access to that particular switch. Okay, so it's going to be line console 0 password. So whatever password you want to give, let's say Cisco. Okay, enter, then log in to initialize that password or for it to take effect. So you must always use the login. Okay, so once you are done, exit. Now this console password is the first password you see whenever you want to log in to the switch. Okay, but then if you want to start configuration on the switch, you should also have another password to give you access to the switch. So that particular mode is the privilege exit mode. Remember, we talked about it initial. So you need to secure that particular mode also. Okay, so for us to give a password to that privilege exit mode, we're going to use enable secret. Okay, they can give it the secret or the password. Cisco, let's use Cisco again. Please use a password you can remember so that it cannot complicate your configurations. Okay, and also you must not use the same password on both encryption. Okay, so you can use Cisco here and you can use maybe another name for this password. Okay, but just know the password you use for each particular mode. Okay, so once you are done, click on enter. Okay, so the next thing we're going to be configuring is the management IP address. So we have done our connection by connecting our rollover cable from our PC to our switch. We have also run the PuTTY software. We have done the first password configuration, that is the exec mode password configuration. We have also give our switch a banner message, which is please, you need to enter the password to verify you have admin authorization. Okay, and we have also give a password to the privilege mode of this switch. Now let's assume you are not on site, you want to configure this switch remotely. Okay, so you need a management IP address on that interface. Okay, so you need a management IP address on your switch to be able to configure this switch remotely. Let me show you where you will need this management IP address. Let's go back to this PuTTY. So if you're connecting to the switch remotely, you're going to choose this option. Now SSH is a secure way of connecting to your device remotely. Okay, now here is where you're going to input this management IP address we want to configure now on this switch. Okay, so instead of using the serial when you are on site, if you are off site, you are going to use SSH and input this management IP address we are to configure on this switch here. Then click on OK. It's going to give you access to the switch. Okay, so let's close this. So to assign this IP address, we're going to assign it to the VLAN 1 of this switch. Okay, so interface VLAN 1 IP address. So you can give it any preferred IP address you want. Okay, so definitely you are going to have an IP address range, or maybe you have subnetted a particular IP address to give to your devices. So from there you can designate some IP addresses for management configuration and for other kind of configuration on the network. Okay, so here we can use the 192.168. Let's say 1.2. Okay, then space subnet mask, very important, 255.255.255.0. enter. So no short allows us to activate or to turn up the particular port on that switch. No shutdown. So we use this command to turn on the interface of a router. Okay, so before I do this, let me show you something. So if I do show IP interface, okay, brief. So if you watch here, this is the VLAN 1. We assign this IP address, okay, and it is let me expand this a little bit. So it is administratively down. So if you do not turn it on, your configuration will not take effect. Okay, so we're going to use the command no shutdown. Okay, enter. So if we go back, you see that the status is now up. Okay, so that is the use or the function of this no shutdown. Now the next command we are going to be applying here is the default gateway. Now if the switch needs to communicate outside its subnet, we need to configure a default gateway. Okay, so for us to do that, we're going to go back to the global mode, exit. Okay, so here we're going to input IP default gateway. So you can give it maybe 192.168.1.1, enter. So there are two other types of configuration I would like us to do in this video before I end the video. Now these configurations are the access mode and also the trunk mode. Now this access mode and the trunk mode are configurations we do on the port of a switch to allow them to handle traffics in different ways. So any port on a switch you configure to be on access mode, it is used to connect to end devices like your PCs, your printer, or your phone. And also it belongs to a single VLAN and cannot carry traffic for multiple VLANs. While on the other hand, any port on a Cisco device you configure to be on a trunk mode is used to carry traffic for multiple VLANs, now between intermediary devices like switches, router, or any other trunk capable devices. So if you observe from this switch, we have different interfaces here. Okay, so you can run either an access mode or a trunk mode on any of these interface. So let me assume we want to run an access mode on maybe fast internet 0/1. So this is the command. So interface fast internet 0/1, enter. Okay, remember no short to turn it on. So switch port mode, access. All right, enter. Now come back again, switch port, access VLAN 1. Access VLAN space 1. Okay, we are good. So no short, we have already done no short. Let me just confirm. No short. So exit. So this particular port can be connected to any end devices at all. Okay, so you can do that for other ports also. So for the trunk port, I'm going to set up the trunk mode on, let's say, fast internet 5/1. Okay, so interface fast internet 5/0 5/1, sorry. Okay, enter. Switch port mode trunk, all right. No short, bring it up. So we are done. Exit. So let's save our configuration. So exit. Let's come back to the privilege exit mode. So there are different commands you can use to save your configuration on Cisco devices. So you can use write, you can use write memory, you can use copy, running config, startup config. Okay, so let's use copy, running config, startup config. All right. So let's see the VLAN interface we have configured on this switch. So show VLAN brief. So from this table you can see the available VLANs we have on this switch. Okay, so we have VLAN 1, which is the native VLAN, active, and it has all this interface attached to it. Okay, so you can create different VLAN like VLAN 2, VLAN 10, VLAN whatever to assign any of this interface. Okay, and also if you want to see the interface status of your switch, you use the command show IP interface brief. Okay, so show IP, remember I'm just abbreviating some of this word. Okay, this should be interface in full, this should be brief in full. Okay, so I've done a video on how I explain how you can shorten and also abbreviate some of these commands. So watch that video and learn from it. Okay, so this is the status of our interfaces. Okay, so the VLAN 1 has this IP address and also it is up. So other interfaces status are still down, so you can turn them on and also you can turn them off. Okay, so if I want to maybe turn on this particular interface, I'm going to go back to the global configuration mode. So whenever you type in an incorrect command, you're going to have this this domain server error. So you can always turn it off before you start your configuration. So I'm going to show you that in a minute once the error have cleared. Or you can use the command Ctrl+Shift 6. Okay, so you can use the command Ctrl+Shift 6 to leave that particular mode once the error comes up. That's if you do not turn it off. Okay, but for us to turn it off, we need to go back to the global configuration mode. So config T. So you can do something like no IP domain lookup. Okay, so if you do any mistake again, this particular error will not show up. So let's also use this command show IP. Okay, show running configuration. So from this show running configuration, you can see the enable secret, which is encrypted here, that we gave to the privilege mode. You can see our host name, you can see the no IP domain lookup we configured, and you can see the banner MOTD which we configured on this particular switch. You can see the default gateway we configured, you can see the IP address we gave to this VLAN 1 and other configuration we did. Now this is the password we gave to the user exec mode. Okay, so this is a command you can use to see all your configurations on the switch. So once you are done with your configurations, and you can also use the show IP interface brief to show the interfaces and their status and protocols you have on the switch. And lastly, you can use the show running config to see all your configurations on that particular switch. So that will be all for this configuration. Now these are just like the basic configuration you should be considering whenever you are going to a site or maybe your client site to configure a switch or maybe to troubleshoot a switch. So you should be expecting this kind of configuration maybe already done or you are to do them. Okay, now like I said, they are just basic configurations. There are other complex kind of configuration you can do on a Cisco switch, and if you stay tuned on this channel, we're going to be looking at those kind of configurations. So thank you guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like this video if you learn anything from it. See you guys in my next video.